Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another football season here at historic Roosevelt Stadium. And with me tonight for tonight's broadcast between the Norristown Eagles and the William Tennent Panthers is former Norristown head basketball coach and presently Williamson Trade School head basketball coach Bill Michaels. Bill, Norristown's off to a great start last year, winning their first four, and it's very important for them with a lot of new players on the roster to get off to a quick start against the team that defeated them last year in Warminster, William Tennent. What are your impressions of how important it is for Norristown to get off to a quick start this year?
Well, I think it's extremely important, as you already stated, especially against William Tennent, a team that defeated them last year in a tough-fought 7-6 battle on their home field. It's going to be very important for Norristown to set the tone for the entire season here this evening by putting a W on the board.
Yeah, I believe that's very, very correct, Bill. However, Norristown last year, as I previously mentioned, got off to a great 4-0 start, and you think that would have kick-started them to a great season, maybe a possible league title. But the second half of the season, they just couldn't stop anybody defensively, and it was a matter of them trying to outscore teams, and then teams adjusted to James Jacobs out of the backfield. This year, however, their offense is going to be with a plethora of new players, starting with quarterback Anthony Carmona, Rob Coleman, and A.J. Pettigrew in the backfield. So how important do you think it will be, as a former football coach yourself, the timing? How long does it take for a new backfield to get that timing down so that they're cohesive offensively?
Well, as you know, being a previous basketball coach, early on in the season, there's going to be some miscues. The key tonight will be what team is able to limit those miscues and limit the turnovers and go ahead and come out and execute their offense and execute their game plan effectively. As far as last year, toward the end of the season, the Eagles did struggle a little bit. However, when you have a veteran staff like Coach Grove and his staff, you can rest assured that they're not going to have two letdown seasons in a row. No,
you're absolutely right. The veteran staff that Roger Grove has under him, and with the return of former Jenkintown and former Norristown assistant E.J. Smith, is going to prove very beneficial, I think, to teaching the young kids the techniques and to put the attitude on them, what it's going to take for them to win early. So without any further ado, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with the starting lineups and tonight's kickoff after these messages. Okay, Bill, here we are back for the start of tonight's game between the Eagles of Norristown and the Panthers of William Tennent. Direct your attention to midfield, where Norristown's captains Sam Johnson, Joe Cicchione, and Dave Watson are joined by the William Tennent captains Rob Wallace, Eric DeLello, and Ryan Murphy. Bill, you couldn't ask for a better night to open the football season.
That's a gorgeous night, Tom. I was a little nervous earlier on. Clouds seemed to blanket the sky, but they've opened up here, and we have a beautiful evening for high school football.
Yes, we do. I don't think there's much threat of rain right now, and the temperature is great. Taking a little bit more time, I guess, first game procedures out there for the coin toss. It appears to me that Norristown has won the toss and has elected to receive. And, Bill, I'm sure what they'll do here is look to get on the scoreboard quickly, which is really a trademark of the Eagles.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking with assistant coach Brian Kennedy prior to the game, we really expect to see a lot of different formations from Norristown today offensively. Perhaps a little bit more run oriented than pass, but we'll see what happens.
Without further ado, Bill, I'd like to introduce a third man in the booth who's been a mainstay on the NASD TV broadcast for football and basketball over the last couple of years, Joe Highland. Joe, welcome aboard.
Thank you very much, Tom. It's a pleasure to be back. Last time we spoke to the fans was the last game of the basketball season. Look forward to a very, very exciting year with the Norristown Eagles, and of course, I look forward to working with both of you guys.
Thanks, Joe. It's good to have you back. All right, Bill, Coach Kennedy was telling me, he was going to be Coach Jack Griffiths, informed me that Norristown's going to show a lot of different formations this year. They're going to run the I formation. They're going to run a pro set. They're going to run a little bit of triple option. So they're going to try to utilize the speed that they have available to them.
Well, anyone that knows Norristown football knows that there's always a plethora of running backs, and I'm sure we'll see those running backs being utilized today.
Okay, that looks like Sammy Johnson deep to receive, number 3 for Norristown. Can you make out the other 2 numbers, Bill?
Closest to us, Tom, is number 2, Rob Coleman, who is a junior for Norristown, and then on the far side is going to be number 4, A.J. Pettigrew.
And kicking off for the Panthers, number 3, senior Mike Donnelly. And we're underway, the 2002 season. Relatively short kick. It's going to be fielded by one of the up men, and down he goes immediately.
That was number 21, Chris Gonzalez, on the tackle for William Tennent.
And I believe that was number 19, Jamal Blackwell, who fielded the kick. Norristown's going to start at their own 25-yard line. 1st and 10.
Tom, quarterbacking for the Norristown Eagles, number 10, Anthony Carmona. Quite a story. We'll get to it after this play.
Looks like the backs are split. Wide left, wide out on the left side, split out. Carmona on the handoff. Pickup of about 4 on the play. It's going to bring up a 2nd and 6. And that was Rob Coleman carrying the ball for Norristown.
Rob Coleman, one of the exciting up-and-coming players for Norristown, one of their younger players in his junior year. And I know Coach Grove and his staff are expecting great things from this young man.
I think they like to have that pitch set up, maybe a quick dive and get into the secondary quickly by one of the Norristown scat backs. Again, backs are split, wide receiver left. Carmona over the ball. Straight handoff, and that's just what I called. There it goes. And it looks like it's going to be a touchdown. And that was number 4 for Norristown. And I think he got tripped up from behind, which is amazing. A.J. Pettigrew, he's going to be the bread and butter guy for Eagles this year. He's more of a power back, but give credit to the William Tennent player that never gave up and didn't really have a great angle. Just outran him. Touchdown saving tackle, at least temporarily.
That was great blocking by Norristown's front line, particularly the right guard. And I believe that was Joe Kay with the lead block, but opened up a tremendous hole for A.J. Pettigrew. And
69 yards or 70 yards on that play.
A.J. took full advantage of that hole.
Carmona over the ball. Back split, same formation, 3 consecutive plays. Carmona keeps it. I don't know if he got in. I don't think so. The officials gave him a lot of time to get the push forward, Bill.
Well, there wasn't a tremendous surge from the center and the front line, to advance the ball forward any. Anthony went into that line standing up pretty high.
And that's their strength with number 50, Joe Kikayoni. And I know I'm going to butcher that name, and I apologize again. So for now on, it'll be Joe K, number 50.
I think you're safe with that.
Carmona again stopped, I believe. They're not getting a very good push up front. You're right, Bill. And Carmona's not really that physically strong. I think you might see a little play action here.
You could be right. You got to credit the defensive line of William Tennent, particularly number 76, Jason Reclu, for doing an outstanding job of stuffing Carmona at the line.
All right, let's see if Norristown changes up. They're in the I formation right now. Pettigrew, the deep back. And Pettigrew is in for the touchdown. A.J. Pettigrew actually gains 74 yards on that drive himself. So the trend is beginning already this year. A featured back from Norristown, responsible for 90% of their total yardage.
Well, graduate James Jacobs and introduce A.J. Pettigrew.
Now, I have to point out, A.J. does not seem to be the same type of player as Jacobs. He's not as quick and doesn't have that great speed, but he does run with a lot of power. And there's a penalty already. Illegal substitution against Norristown. It's going to set them back 5 yards.
Number 5 is in there. What's supposed to
They broke the huddle with 12 men, I believe, and that's called illegal substitution. So that'll bring the ball back to the, I believe, the 8-yard line, which will increase the distance required for number 12, Giacomo Stabile, for his extra point attempt. We're going to have fun with that name this year, Bill.
Yeah, Giacomo, a transfer from Sicily, I believe. Tom, is that correct?
Right?
Yes.
block.
I would say that he didn't quite get that off in time.
No, that was blocked by number 36, Raheem Allison.
But 3 minutes into the game, Bill, Norristown has to be happy, leading 6-0. And now we're going to see this vaunted Norristown defense that Coach Grove gave such great promise to in his pregame or his preseason prognostications. He thinks the defense this year is significantly better than last year's, and that was their Achilles heel last year. Norristown, from the middle part of the season, could not stop anybody in big situations.
Getting back to that opening drive, Tom, just a great way for Norristown to start not only the game but the season. Any football coach wants to establish the run early on, in the season and obviously in the game, and Norristown was able to do that. Mainly with the legs of A.J. Pettigrew. Interesting at the goal line, the two stops, with the carries of Anthony Carmona, they came up short and then went to Pettigrew. He was able to get in. Sometimes I think, they just need a little bit of time for that line to go ahead and surge ahead and gain momentum. So Coach Grove, in his veteran wisdom, went ahead and went to an isolation play and was able to go ahead and get the touchdown.
Okay, Norristown's kickoff, Billy, goes to number 34 for William Tennent.
That's Jared Jones, Tom, and he's stopped short on the 10-yard line. A great coverage by the special teams of Norristown.
Yeah, returning that was number 34, Chris Chirlanza for William Tennent. And number 41 kicked off for the Eagles, and I'm looking for number 41 here in the program, and I don't see a 41. So we're going to have a difficult time identifying number 41 who did the kickoff chores that time for the Eagles.
Same guy that did the placement.
That was Giacomo Stabile. Okay, here's William Tennent. Quarterback keeps over the left side, a pickup of about 4 yards on the play. That was the quarterback for William Tennent. Number 2, Eric DeLillo.
A pretty good fake on that play. 5 yards on the gain. And that'll bring up a 2nd and 5. Not a bad situation to be in.
No, and there's that number 19, Jamal Blackwell, looming large on the defensive end position for Norristown. Number 76, Justin Recklau, another transfer from Rhode Island. The straight hand up goes to number 45, Tom Reardon. Straight up the middle. Going to be a little bit short of first down yardage. Blackwell in on the tackle.
I think we're going to be hearing that name quite a bit today, Tom, not only because Jamal's a tremendous defensive player, but also because his twin brother, Julius, is also on the team.
That is correct. Julius playing for the first time this year as a football player, and Julius as a starting linebacker, number 31. Because of procedure penalty, the right tackle or the tight end on the right side of the Tennent offensive line jumped.
That was Rob Wallace, number 36.
And that's a big mistake. Goes from 3rd and 1 to third and actually less than 1 to 3rd and a long 5, called 3rd and 6. While we have a stoppage in action, I want to mention to our viewers that the miniature footballs that are thrown after each Norristown score up in the bleachers are compliments of Gray Boys Window and Door, 48 West Germantown Pike. They wish the Eagles good luck for a great season. So thank you to Gray Boys Window and Door. That was my first legitimate commercial, Bill.
Tom, I believe you may have a new career.
All right, here's DeLello over the ball. Back split. Actually, it's a full house backfield. A motion shift. And there's movement. And it looked like there was too many men in motion. You can only have one man in motion at any given time.
Offside, Norristown.
No, I'm wrong. I did see the Tennent players clap. Norristown most likely lined up in the neutral zone, lined up off sides, which is a mistake that you're going to see at the high school level, Bill, early in the season.
Well, Tom, one of the things we mentioned in our pregame talk was that, you know, there are going to be mistakes made this evening, being the first game for both teams, and the team that creates the fewer mistakes is more than likely going to be the team successful this evening.
Okay, here's DeLello back to 3rd and less than 1, and he takes it straight forward, and it looks like he got more than enough for a first down, so that penalty really killed the Eagles.
Well, offensively, William Tennent doing a great job capitalizing on the mistake of Norristown. Great line surge by Dante Klipner, number 70.
Number 50, Joe Kay, comes out of the game. He's a big man. He's going to need some rest on a humid night. Although he just went through 3 weeks of practice in ungodly hot weather, he should really be in good shape by now for this weather. Hand off to the fullback, right tackle. Pickup of about 3. No penalty flags down on the field, in spite of some of the experts up here in the booth to the contrary.
Tom, that was number 44, Sonny Ford, on the carry. Pickup of about 3.5 to 4 yards for Tennent.
2nd and 6, Bill. And Tennent right now is content for, I guess, ground control of the ball. DeLilly, another handoff.
There's a flag on that play,
Number
Tom.
40, and there is a flag.
Oh, should I have?
That's a Well, again, Tom, you see those early mistakes.
What's the preliminary indication here, Bill? Have you?
Well, we have offsides. Okay, we had illegal motion.
Offsetting. Penalties. 3rd down and a big play for Tennent early in the game, Bill.
We'll see if they test those defensive backs of Norristown, Tom.
I formation, DeLilly over the center. Looks like a draw, fake. DeLilly keeping the ball and gets nowhere. Stopped at the line of scrimmage. Going to bring up a punting situation for William Tennent.
Well, there was a fake on the play, but Norristown definitely was not fooled, Tom.
It appears to me early on that Tennent is very respecting of the Norristown speed on the corners. They're not testing the outside at all.
If William Tennent is going to win the game, it's going to be between the tackles.
And who's deep for Norristown? Could you read that number?
That's number 3 for Norristown. I believe that's Sam Johnson.
Sam Johnson. Sam Johnson is correct. I'm anxious to see his speed and his hands in fielding this punt. Tennent's really struggling in their execution right now, Bill. Their timing is way off.
Again, the early mistakes that we referred to. We don't have an exact calculation of the penalties with yardage, but I know that William Tennent at this point has definitely created more penalties, more mistakes.
Punt is very
than
short.
Norristown.
Norristown's wise to let it go out of bounds, which they do. They're going to have excellent field position somewhere around the 40-yard line, I believe. That was an absolutely brutal punt. But Norristown loved every bit of it.
Well, Tom, getting back to what I mentioned earlier about Norristown's quarterback, Anthony Carmona, in his senior year, is a young man who has definitely paid his dues. Since I've met Anthony 3 years ago, his dream has been to produce as the quarterback of the Norristown Eagles, and he's fulfilling that dream this evening.
Well, he's a very dedicated athlete, worked very hard this summer. You know, he'd have workouts, lift weights for football, play a summer basketball game, and then play in a flag football game in the passing league for Norristown. So this kid worked very, 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 very hard over the summer. Another penalty. That's a shocker. We've only had about 8.
Line up in neutral zone.
William Tennent did exactly what Norristown did, lined up in the neutral zone. That's probably going to be a point of emphasis. I believe it is in all levels of football this year. Just what football needs, more reasons to call the blow the whistle.
Tom, if we were commentating a basketball game, we would be in the 1-and-1 bonus.
Absolutely. Well, Norristown has to capitalize here. 1st down and 5 on the 30. Straight handoff, I believe, to Pettigrew. No, it wasn't Pettigrew. Dave Watson. Dave Watson came in motion. The ball was handed off to. No, the ball was carried by number 2, Rob Coleman. Dave Watson, number 5, in motion.
Just to give you an idea of how important penalties are, Tom. You know, Norristown with a decent gain on that play, about 3 or 4 yards. But instead of having a 2nd down and 6 because of the penalty, they now are faced with a 2nd down and very short, 1.5, it looks like.
Watson again in motion. Handoff to Pettigrew, left tackle. I think he's got enough for the 1st down. It's going to be close. Bill, how do you feel about Carmona on every play or after every play having to run 40-some yards to the sidelines, get the play from the coach, and then run back? Don't you think that takes something away from a player? And it puts you in a time situation? I'm more in favor of sending in ends, replacing ends with plays.
Well, I think that's a philosophical thing. A lot of coaches like to have that contact with their quarterback after every play.
Well, I think he made the 1st down, but it's going to be close if he did. The last 2 plays, William Tennent's really stuffed Norristown at the line of scrimmage, just as they did Bill down there in the early goal line setting.
Yeah, William Tennent definitely showing a bend but not break defense. Really have been pretty tough aside from the one long run by A.J. Pettigrew.
I think it's time to put the ball up in the air. Tennent's really stacked for the run. Look how tight they are defensively in the secondary.
We could see that.
The pitch. No, they're penetrating the Norristown line. I think Norristown's got to look to run the ball. That was number 3 for Norristown. That was Sammy Johnson on the carry.
Yeah, Tom, number 75, Blair Schwartz, defensive lineman for Tennent, is
No,
going.
you're looking at the Norristown roster.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tom.
75.
Oh, that's Ryan Culp.
Ryan Cole.
And he's doing an outstanding job getting penetration in the backfield of Norristown.
And Norristown coaches are concerned with their kicking game this year, so they're going to have to do most of their scoring with their offense on the field. Overthrown. Ball intended for number 5. That was Dave Watson. It's going to bring up a 3rd and 12 situation for Norristown. And again, without a field goal kicker, if they don't make it here, I'm anxious to see what they'll do. Very few teams punt from the 25-yard line.
It'll be an interesting situation for Coach Grove and his staff to see what they'll do. But, hopefully the Norristown Eagles will go ahead and pick up the necessary yards here to get the first down.
3rd and 12, they're showing a passing set from the power I formation. Straight drop back by Carmona, rolls out right. Looks like he's going to be pushed out of bounds at the 25-yard line.
That's going to cost him.
And it looks like it's going to be a late hit from William Tennent. I don't know. It was pretty, they're pursuing a quarterback. He cuts upfield. But anymore, these officials, they're going to call things close, especially when it comes to physicality.
Well, their job is to protect these guys, and I agree with the officials' call on that play. I think Anthony Carmona was definitely out of bounds when he received that last hit.
Sometimes the momentum, though, is difficult to stop. But it bails Norristown out, so we won't get an opportunity to find out if they would have punted there.
Yeah, this is going to put Norristown in a great situation. 1st and 10 from about the 13.5-yard line.
Right, conceivably they can get a first down inside the 5 and have a number of cracks to score. Watson split out right. Pettigrew in the backfield.
Tom, I wouldn't be surprised
Coleman
to see Norristown try to run on the corners here.
Fumble. And I thought Norristown jumped the left side of their line there, too.
Well, fortunately, Anthony Carmona was able to retrieve that fumble and put Norristown in a 2nd down and 10 situation.
Norristown took over on their 30, and the only way they've advanced the ball is as a result of penalties against Tennent. Carmona back split, Watson right. Comes a blitz, and there's the pass to Blackwell, overthrown. He was wide open. He was open.
Well, I think Anthony just rushed that throw a little bit.
Right, I think he saw the blitz coming from his left, to his blind side. He caught it right at the snap of the ball and probably released it a little bit too soon. But Blackwell gave a great effort, fully extending himself to try to haul that one in. We're back at 3rd and what, 10?
Yeah, we're going to see another pass play here, Tom, or perhaps a draw play.
Carmona and the keeper has Blackwell. Touchdown.
Well, that's a great call by Coach Grove.
Yeah, he flooded that area, and he had any number of 1 or 2 receivers open.
Great play action, fake the reverse. Anthony Carmona on the sprint out, and he was able to locate, which I believe will be one of his main receivers this year, number 19.
Well, Blackwell's probably the best athlete on the team, so he's going to be involved in a lot of things for Norristown, both offensively and defensively.
Jamal only a junior.
Well, they sure gave up on that place kicker pretty quick this season. Norristown call time. Bill, I would not I would not. They probably want to get a 14-point edge. I imagine that's why they're going for 2. But you don't think they're giving up on that place kicker after one opportunity, do you? Well, although he was pretty slow getting the ball up.
No, I don't think they're giving up, Tom. I think you're right. They want to extend the lead to 14. And generally coaches have a card. I call it a cheat sheet, and it gives them situations that they're able to look at. For example, up 12, down 6, and generally that will tell them whether to go for 1 or go for 2.
You think they need that sheet reference this early in the game?
Well, Tom,
Any brain surgeon will understand that 14 minus 12 is 2.
Tom, not everyone has that Hofstra education that you have.
Well, there's Roger. He's carrying something in his hand off that field. Well, let's see what they're going to do here. Carmona they're going to go for 2. And they got Pettigrew in the backfield with number 2, Coleman. They have a slot receiver who's in motion, Watson. Wide out left, spread. Carmona, same type of play, knocked down. He had Pettigrew open. Nice defensive play by the William Tennent defensive end. So with 54 seconds remaining in the first quarter, Bill, the score, Norristown 12, William Tennent 0. It'll give you another opportunity to thank the Gray Boys Window and Door Company of 48 West Germantown Pike for providing the complimentary Norristown Eagle little white footballs that they throw up in the stands following each touchdown.